watch this video later on, remember this is a live stream. I say that because I've had a lot of folks keep reaching out to me, and they're like, "Hey, buddy, I'm watching you on my TV, and you look like I can only see half the screen." Guys, it's because I'm doing this on my phone. I repeat, I'm doing this on my phone, and everyone watches live streams today on their phone. It seems like so. I like the bigger format, but for live streams, this will work. So if you're at work and you're watching me on your phone, I'm gonna get a little bit of a chuckle out of it. Hey Alexis, how's it going, my friend? How you doing, bro? Hey guys, again, my name is Tony. You are watching Faith and Coffee Bean. I am a total coffee geek, and I love talking about coffee. In my day job, it's 100% not coffee related. I am a boring insurance manager for an insurance company, and you guys are my escape. You are how I make my day fun. So every now and then, I get someone who leaves a comment, and I got a comment today where someone was asking me about this beautiful grinder right here. Okay, so this is the Nutty grinder. It's made by Nutty. Fun name. They partner with Timemore. So it's like a brother sister company with Timemore, and they actually use the Timemore burr set. And I think they kind of did the R&D on how to do the mobile grinder. And then Timemore has this awesome grinder. This is called the Whirly. And in the review, or excuse me, in the comment I got, I was being asked, basically which one is the best one, and could a mobile grinder like this be used as your daily driver? Okay. And I'm going to tell you before I even get started, yes, 100% yes. I'm not going to say, hey, stay to the end of the video to find out. That's not what this is about. I actually have quite a few subscribers who watch this channel who use the Whirly and the Nutty as their primary grinder, and it is definitely 100% possible. Now, it all comes down to preference, it all comes down to cost, and it all comes down to what fits your life, what's going to suit your life. And I know that sounds goofy and corny, but that's the truth at the end of the day, what matters the most, what works for you. So I'm going to tell you guys right now pros and cons for each, okay? There are almost, here, I don't have a lot of space here. Let me put them together. They are almost identical, but they have a different burr set. I know that for a fact. Almost identical, but they definitely have a different burr set. Now, I'll talk about that. So they both have a battery. I believe this one has a little bit of a higher capacity. They're both USB C, so that's really cool, USB-C, and they are both pretty good at charging. I'm going to say this, though, and this is my big caveat. Hey, man! Hey, good to see you. The only thing I'm going to say is this is the biggest downfall with any mobile grinder, okay? It is the fact that you're relying on that USB-C battery. I have had a friend of the channel and a subscriber reach out to me where they had a Nutty and the battery went bad. Do I think that's an everyday occurrence or an everyday bigger situation? No. But the problem is that it's just like your iPhone or just like your cell phone or whatnot. Insert whatever mobile device we all use. And the truth is, it's not always easiest to replace something like the battery. So that is something to kind of think about. That's what, for all of them, I'm going to say that's kind of the downfall. And something to really kind of make that decision to yourself. Hey, this is really cool. I just kind of think about that. And I don't want to say overthink about it, but it's important to think about, because like I said, I had a friend, a subscriber to the channel, who used this grinder, and then the battery went out, and they ended up having to buy another one. And I don't think that's a common issue. Okay, I just don't. But could it happen? Yeah, it definitely could happen. Having something like the Showdown 64 or the Macomb, like up here, especially at that price point, is really awesome. So that's kind of the thing. This isn't one of those questions of like, hey, which grinder should I get? In that sense, it's like, which one fits your life the most? Or do you have one of these? And then the biggest question is, do you go to an office? Because I'm telling you, I work at home, but I didn't always work at home. And when I worked in the office, I would have killed to have something like this at my desk. This is just crazy. Here's the other factor, too, to think about, guys. They're very quiet. They're very quiet. So let me stop jibber jabbing a little bit. Let's go ahead and pull some coffee because that's the most important part. The question that I got asked was, can the Nutty pull for espresso and can it be a daily driver? And I said yes. So I told the person I wrote the comment to, I said, I go live a lot. Make sure that you're subscribed and hit that notification bell, and we'll talk about it. If you guys ever have a question or there's something you want me to talk about, let me know. I love that. I try to go live 2 or 3 times a week. Sometimes more this week. I've gone more just because I've needed a break from work. I needed to get my mind off of the craziness of my job. And I love hanging out with you guys the most. So we're going to both, because I have just enough to finish this up, we're going to use Lavanza just because I want to have the same bean with these. And I don't want anything wacky. I just want a very normal bean. I've been using, I did my video yesterday, Volcanic. So that's another really good one. And then I have a assorted amount of other goodies around me. But we're going to use Lavanza just because I want to kind of have a little bit of a standard bearer for this because it's more like a test versus each other. So I have my Gaja Classic Pro. And guys, I've made the decision. I'm going to go Gaja Mate. Okay, I'm going to go Gaja Mate for a couple different reasons. There is a great YouTuber that I want y'all, if anyone is really interested in what modifications to do, please check out this YouTuber. I'm just pulling it up right now because I have been so impressed by his channel. I believe it is Espresso Hacker. Let me make sure. And I want to show it to you guys because I love talking about other YouTubers because it's cool to support people. So this gentleman right here, he is awesome. Okay, I'm telling you, this is a channel you want to follow. Espresso Hackers. Okay, he's the real deal. He has the engineer brain. He's done some amazing videos. So big shout out to Espresso Hackers. He's done some awesome videos on his Gaja Classic and other stuff with the Garjuino. And he's pretty much the main reason why I'm going to go with Gaja Mate, okay? Not that I don't want to go with Garjuino, okay? I really want to do Garjuino. But just kind of on a side note, it's going to take about 3 months for me to get all my stuff. And I don't want to wait that long. And I really like the look of Gaja Mate. So I think I'm going to go Gaja Mate, okay? And tell me if I'm wrong. I'm open to suggestion. But I like what Gaja Mate does. And right now, I'm going to go with the pro version with the profiling and all that stuff. So anyway, side note, that should be ordered soon. I cannot wait, guys. I've already been talking to the team over there, and I'm going to make a full series on doing the upgrade. So those of you who are interested in that, you will be seeing an upgrade video on the Gaja Mate, and I'm going to fully tear everything down and document everything. You guys can see my mistakes and give me suggestions. So that should be cool. Okay, so let's go ahead. Let's get 18 grams. Okay. We're going to do 18 grams right here. Very standard, just regular pool. There might be a little bit of dialing in, guys, because I haven't grabbed these 2 grinders for just a minute or so. So I might have to do a little bit of dialing in. So that just to kind of forewarn you. So we got our 18 grams to start us off. Let me find, there we go, my RDT. Okay. And we'll put this bad boy over here in the corner. Okay. Let's see if I can keep him still. Y'all, I need more space so bad. All right, so let's go ahead and just show you this. So one of the things I really love about this unit is that it's a 58 millimeter catch cup. Same thing as the Whirly. So 58 millimeter. You basically are going to be doing the same thing for each one of these. If you look on the bottom, it does give you suggestions for the clicks. So that is going to be on there. Espresso is 1 to 4. So what I'm going to do is I want to take this down. Let's see here. That's the opposite. I want to take it down to its 0 point. So I have it at 0 point. And as I remember, for these particular beans, I think it's a 3. So 1 click, 2, 3 is where I want to be. Okay. So that's 3 clicks out of the 4 for espresso recommendation. I know that you can go to a certain point where it's about rotations as well. But I'm going to go with 3 clicks to get started with this. Whoa. This one is so easy to operate. So is the other one. So basically, you're going to want to make sure you have your catch cup obviously on the bottom. Okay. And then this is very easy. You just pop it open. And it's an all plastic design. It's all food grade. I really love the fact that it has this handle. I took this on a road trip across country. So I literally have tested this thing as much as I could possibly test it. So I know that the Nutty performs really well. Okay, I took it. I did AeroPress on one road trip. I've actually taken on a couple road trips. So it's been around. I've had the Nutty the most. Okay, so, pour on top. I like the way the Whirly goes in more. Right now it's Prime Day, guys. So this is the Nutty's about $100 and the Whirly's about 120. There's not a big price difference, so I think that's why a lot of folks, especially if you're going to buy it in the next day or so, that's kind of why that that question came up. It's like, which one should I go with? I think you know which one I'm going to recommend. But they're both really, really good. And if the promotion ends, they're both a really solid choice. I like to make sure give it a little shake. And just because I want to show you a little bit of retention, let's do this first. Let's put the catch cup on the bottom. Let's zero it out. When you use these mobile grinders, it's going to take a little bit of time. So that's another thing that you got to think about. If you use a mobile grinder as your primary, so to start it, we just go ahead and press the O. Okay, and there it goes. So if you're going to use a mobile grinder as your primary, you got to think about the time factor. And there's some folks that's why they would go with, a electric grinder, a regular full-size electric grinder. So this is, I guess, if you're living the New York life, if you're living the van life, if you're camping a lot, if you're a mobile person, obviously this is a good way to go. But like I said, I know quite a few people that subscribe to this channel who use these as their primary daily drivers. I like to give it a little bit of a shake like this, just like I would with a regular hand grinder. I tend to grind kind of to the side more to give it more of that slow feed. Do you have to do that? No, but I do think that really helps out. Okay. Yeah, guys, this is a really cool thing for sure. And again, this would be the same experience if you're using your Timemore C3 Pro or anything else, as far as grinding time goes. But yeah, it's going to be a little bit longer. You're going to have to wait. Definitely patience is definitely the virtue. There we go. See, I think it's all clear. I like to give it a little bit of a shake, though. See, there's always a little straggler in there. I don't think this one has an auto turn-off where I think the Whirly does. There we go. Let's give that another set. Hey, Interceptor! How's it going, my friend? Okay, I think we're clear. So we're going to hit the X to turn it off. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's take a look at the retention and how the grounds look. I think they're a little coarser than I like right now, but I do think this is going to pull a good shot. So I do, so it smells so good. So 18. I don't know if y'all could see that. Yeah, you can. I just wanted to make sure. Look at that. Look at that. 18 on the dot. Oh, that's cool. Intercept and reading your comment. Have you seen them? The instant espresso makers. They can use them from. And to me, yeah, I have. I have. So yeah, I think Alexis, I think the Whirly does have the auto time where it could sense when the beans are done. So that is kind of one of those things to think about. Like I said, right now with the prime time, with the prime days, there's not much of a difference price wise. So let's go ahead. Let's pull our first shot. Okay. Let me just want to make sure I got everything good here. This is what's cool about these. Check this out. You could set it right here. Oh, that's right. This one's a little bit bigger. I forgot about that. So this one isn't exactly 58. It's pretty close though. So I'm gonna use the dosing ring not to make a mess. Okay. Just set that here for right now. Let's do some WDT. Yeah, I don't think this is going to be a bad shot. I have a feeling this one's going to be good. But could I have gotten finer? Yes. I have gotten so fine with this grinder that I've choked my machine. I think it was the Hybrew H10B. Guys, I just did a video on kind of a guide to budget espresso machines. And I had a longtime subscriber who wrote to me and said, hey, what about the Hybrew H10B? The video is more about trying to explain to folks who are new to coffee. But I'm going to be honest, guys, that Hybrew, I need to do another video being like, this is what I recommend. Because the Hybrew is awesome. H10B is one of my favorite budget machines ever. And I love it. I love it. I love it. And I cannot recommend it more. It's one of those situations. All right, guys, let's go ahead and do some distribution. Okay. Let's hit this thing with the tamper. Pull our first shot. Okay. Pretty clean. I'm liking that. I'm liking that. Let's put a puck screen up top. Always try to use my puck screens. The other day I didn't because it wouldn't fit into the group head. Okay. Nice. Okay, nice and tight. All right, so let's grab a cup. Okay, now again, this is the Whirly for the first attempt here, Whirly. Okay. So definitely it's Whirly time. All right, guys. All right, let's go ahead and pull this. Ooh, I need some more water soon. Coming out a little bit faster. Like I said, I thought this was a little coarser. A little too coarse, I should say. I'm going to go ahead and stop it right at 30. 30 and 18. So passable. Not what I exactly wanted, but that's okay. That's just fine-tuning it. But look, got some good crema up there. We'll test this out and take a little drink. Okay. Oh, that's cool. Doing your own blends. That's awesome. I have reached out to Hanyu. Hanyu are the ones who made one of my grinders that I just did a recent review on. And they also did the portafilter automatic cleaner. But they have a roaster, a personal roaster, that I'm trying to see if they'll send me one so I could do a review for y'all, because I kind of want to start getting into roasting my own beans. A lot of y'all have reached out to me telling me you roast your own beans, and it has been something I've been really thinking about for a long, long time. So if there are any other ones that brands of small home roasters you recommend, please let me know, because I definitely think sooner rather than later that's something I want to explore. Okay. So you guys know I always check the TDS for fun. 13.62, so definitely above the normal espresso range of 8 to 12. So we should be good here. Let's give this a little taste. Okay, a little taste. Oh man, that's actually really good. Wow, guys, I'm actually shocked because it was pretty fast. 18 seconds, 30 and 18 seconds, 18 grams. Oh, that's actually pretty tasty. That's definitely pretty tasty. You know, if the goal was to see, is it espresso capable? Spoiler, guys, it's 100% espresso capable for sure. The Nutty's awesome. Yeah, I've recommended it over and over, and I do think you could use it as a daily driver. So definitely win for the Nutty for sure. Win for the Nutty. Oh, that's so cool. I'm reading your comment there, Interceptor. That's awesome. Alexis, yeah. Yeah, it did go a little fast. So let's go ahead. Let's do the time more. I might dial it in a little bit more with the Nutty, but I just kind of I wanted to kind of do this one quick because it's Prime Day, and I know the person that wrote the message was kind of thinking about buying something soon. And I told her, hey, I'll go ahead and share this video. So here's the Timemore Whirly. Okay, the Whirly is utterly awesome. Usually this was like a $50 difference. Right now it's like a $20 difference. Metal body, plastic on the bottom, but that's to be expected. Top, plastic, okay? Without opening this up, because I just don't have the time to do that this very second, without opening up and pulling up the burrs, which if you're interested, I did the full review video and I pulled out the burrs on this one. So the burrs, I cannot 100% confirm this, okay? But have you guys heard about the new Timemore, what is it, the C5? I believe that this is the same burr set that's in that, okay? Again, I can't 100% confirm it because I'm like 99% sure, but it's one of those like, like 1%, I don't know. So I'm not gonna say it is definitively. But the burr set is different. The geometry, one of my favorite timer grinders I've shared with you guys before is my C3 Pro. It's bigger. The burrs are bigger on this thing. And the burrs are very similar. In my full review video, oh man, I hope I don't drop all my grinders. I pulled out the burrs of this. So this is the 3S, which I do not recommend for espresso, but for pour over, it's fantastic. The burrs on this thing are humongous. So that is, oh shoot. Crap. Oh, I hate when I do lives and I drop stuff because I'm not organized. I almost dropped this on my foot, y'all. That would have been so bad. Oh my goodness. Here's kind of, just because we're talking about mobiles, mobile grinders, here is the CF Wisdom grinder. Okay. And this is another mobile grinder that's pretty popular. Okay. It has a little bit of dust on it because I'm gonna be honest, guys, with the Timemore grinders, I haven't really used it much. This one does have, this is the one that has a hand crank if you want to do a hand crank. But if anyone's been really watching a lot of stuff on AliExpress, CF Wisdom has a very small mobile grinder that looks like a big grinder that you would have plugged in. And it's not available on Amazon yet, but it's available in different markets. I'm trying to get one right now. There's a couple YouTubers that have done videos on it. This is the housing for this particular one, but that one that I'm talking about, I forget the name of it. The other folks who've done it is Wish. Wersh. Excuse me, Wersh. Listen to me, Wish. Nope, that's something different. Wersh. And Wersh has one that I'm hoping to get, crossing my fingers. They said they'll send it, but that's one I really want to do a review on for y'all. Okay, so let's go to the Whirly. So the Whirly is the same scenario. I'm going to go ahead and bring this down to 0. And for the Whirly, it's basically, I have such a hard time reading this. It goes in these micro clicks. It's like 0.3 to 0.4. This is the one where you can go a full rotation over. That's why I think this burr set is different than the others. Okay. Okay. So I got it down to 0, and I'm going to go ahead. It says, oh man, I have such a hard time reading this. 0.07. So I'm going to go with 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, let's do 6. This is one where a full rotation counts as 1. Each micro click is like a percentage point. So that's where this gets a little confusing. But basically what it means is this grinder is capable of more finer, that's not the right way to say that, but finer movements, you know? So that's something to definitely think about. And I think that's the difference why if I had to recommend one grinder, I would recommend this one. If you were going to go with a mobile grinder and that was like your heart was set on, oh, I need a mobile grinder for XYZ, that's why I would personally recommend this particular grinder over this grinder. Not that it's just going to knock it out of the water, but just the fact that you have more options when it comes down to how much you fine tune. And when it comes to espresso, that's really the key. So if I had to pick two, you know, which one would be the better one? I really think wholeheartedly this would be the better one. And I also have heard a lot more really good things from people about the Whirly and their experiences. Again, I'm not saying that you're going to hear bad stuff about the other, but it is something to think about for sure. Okay, guys, let me go ahead. Let's do this last one here, this last pull, because I really want to show the difference between the two. Yeah, like I said, if you guys have a question and you want me to do a video live on that question, testing something out, please let me know. I'm always open for that. Definitely always open for that suggestion. And the geek in me is like, oh, cool. Like, I would want someone to do that for me. So, you know, I am always open to that. Let me know if there's any suggestions you have. I had someone ask me about doing a light roast showdown with the tuning when I first got that. And we did that. So, you know, always trying to help out as much as I can. Sometimes what's tough about the espresso world, and then when you start looking at things that are more budget friendly, there's not always a lot of information out there. So when I kind of realize, oh my goodness, I might be the information source for this subject, I kind of want to do everything I can to give you guys all the information that you need. You know, I think that's really important. When I spend my money, I really research it a lot. I will watch every YouTube video I can. Sometimes I won't buy something unless I can watch a couple YouTube videos on it. That sounds weird, I know. But I have to admit, I've got a problem. It's called a research problem. So, you know, you got to do what you got to do. I like to be very informed. All right, let's go ahead. And I'm going to zero this one out too, so we could look at the retention. Okay, cool. So I got the catch cup on the bottom. I've opened up the chamber. I really like how this one, you open this chamber. I'll show you how it looks when you close it. I've done my RDT. I'm going to load everything up. You're not going to slow feed these. I'll tell you that. It's just like a regular hand grinder. So that's another thing to think about. If you're really into slow feeding, that's not going to be a thing. Okay. But there's tricks. like I said, turn it into ingle. There's kind of tricks to that. All right, guys, let's go ahead and get this bad boy started. So again, you saw how it closed down. I really love that compartment and how that works. So we're going to get this activated and let that do its magic while I clear out my puck. Yeah, I really cannot wait to tear down my Gaggia Classic and install the upgrade. I love this thing. It's been awesome. I've missed my Gemini Powerhouse. And I might pull it out here in a little bit, and do a couple videos with it, mix it up a bit. But I miss the owl a tiny bit just because I like having that gauge on there. I will watch a gauge and think about how the puck is breaking down and all that crazy espresso stuff. And one of the bummers is this is such a great machine, but I like to think about it as it's stock. That's how my brain thinks about it. Having a Gaggia Classic Pro without the upgrades is really like having a great stock vehicle that just does everything it should and none of the fancy stuff it shouldn't. But I want to be fancy. I want to be fancy pants again. So we're going to be doing the upgrade. Yeah, I get it with that last one. I'm reading your comment there, Alexis. It wasn't as fast as it could have been, but I like to get that timing down. All right, I think we're getting to the end. So, like I said before, sometimes I'll give it a little bit of a shake. I'll hold it kind of to the side a little bit just to make sure everything's getting well, homogenized, I guess. Okay. Yeah, I was joking with my wife. I said, okay, honey, I'm like, it's Prime Day. And she's like, yeah, but we're broke right now. Oh, see, it auto turned off. Did you hear that? I feel like every time it's Prime Day, I'm like, why isn't Prime Day on a payday Friday? Goodness gracious. Okay, it should auto turn off here in a sec. Yeah, it did the auto turn off, but the problem is that there was still some beans that were kind of in there. I always like to give us a little bit of shake, and if you don't hear any beans, you're all clear. So definitely something to think about. All right, let's go ahead. I like that way better. I mean, look at that. You could really tell a difference. And again, it's not that, like I said, this isn't like versus like this one is terrible. Don't get this. I think anyone gets the Nutty is gonna be really happy with it, But I do think for that very little price difference, it's worth it. If I had, like I said, if I had to pick between the two, and I didn't already have these, I would go with the Whirly. Okay, Whirly fits perfectly in there, so you can give it a good shake. Not gonna have any grounds drop out. Okay, so that is awesome. Let's set this right here. Oh, I didn't check my retention. Oh well, but the retention's basically the same, so that I'm not too worried about that. Okay. Yeah, I could feel a big difference on how fine these are. I'm actually concerned I might choke it on this one. But let's see. We'll let the Gaggia tell me what it thinks. Okay. We're good. Give it that little tap. Even this out a tiny bit. There we go. Sometimes you got to even it by hand. A little bit. Oh, wow. What a difference. The moment I put the distributor on, you could just feel it was like a cushion of air. So definitely a lot finer. There we go. Nice. Okay, so let's put the puck screen up top. Let's get it locked in. Okay. All right, guys. So, moment of truth for the Timemore. Let's see here. Yeah, everything really depends on the beans. It's so true. That's a really good point. Everything when you're doing anything, especially with espresso, uh, it all matters on what beans you're using. Um, Alexis there was telling me he bought some Lavanza and they came a little bit older. And the truth is, if these Lavanzas weren't as new and they were a little bit older, it just wouldn't be the same experience. So, this is like going to the supermarket versus going to your local person, your local coffee shop to get freshly roasted beans. It's kind of the difference. I was talking about this with a friend of mine, and he was like, dude, this is why you need to roast your own beans. You control all the variables. And he was not wrong. So, again, that's something I'm thinking about. All right, y'all. So let's see how we did. Ooh, I think it's way too fine. If it's not dropping by now, I knew it. I knew I was going too fine. Oh my goodness gracious. Yeah, there's no use of putting the pressure on my machine. Yeah, that's called choking the machine, guys. That's going too fine. So again, big question, big point of the video. Is a grinder like this espresso capable? Yeah. This is more than espresso capable. This is you could choke your machine, you can go way too fine. Can you use this as a daily driver? 100% you could. But you have to think, let's do a couple more clicks. Let's just do 3. You have to think, how does this work with your workflow? And only you can judge that. If you're cool with something like this for your workflow, you're okay waiting that extra time. You got to remember, guys, I was the crazy man for 6 months. I didn't have an electric grinder, and every single shot of espresso I pulled was off my Timemore C3 Pro. If you go watch some of my older videos, probably the first 4 months of me having my channel, I didn't have an electric grinder. I didn't. And I had people be like, dude, you were nuts. Like, I literally had someone write me, and they weren't being mean. They're like, you're nuts to grind out your espresso like this. And they weren't wrong, but I'm also incredibly, and I wear this with a little bit of badge of honor. I'm incredibly cheap on some aspects, and I want to save money on every chance I get. And I also kind of wanted to commit to something. And I know that sounds silly, but before I spent $200, $300, $400 on a grinder, I really wanted to make sure I was pulling shots I really enjoyed, that I was teaching myself how to redo it. Guys, I've shared this before. I used to work in a cafe when I was in college, okay? But 20 years later, you forget stuff. I'm 44 years old. When I worked in a cafe, I was 21, 20. I mean, that's a long time ago. You forget stuff. You're off your game. Yeah, you never forget how to ride a bike. That's a great saying, and it's a true saying. But the truth is, I needed to reteach myself how to pull espresso shots the right way. And I'm going to be honest with y'all, a lot's changed in 20 years. Not the fundamentals. The fundamentals are still there. I definitely believe that. That's not fundamentals are still there. But there's new things. There's new ways of doing things. I mean, back in my day, I remember when I heard about James Hoffman when he won the World Barista Championship. And it was just because I had friends in the business and stuff. And, I've said it before. I worked in a cafe. It was like frosted tips and, Jimmy Eat World and grunge music and alternative music, and I grew up on the West Coast, so I mean it is totally that, like, you know, California cafe world, way different. Anyway, guys, I don't want to wax too old here. Oh my goodness gracious. Okay. There we go. Just want to make sure I got everything good. All right, guys. I'm going to make this one quick. I actually think I have a meeting coming up in the next 15 minutes, so I just had to take a little break. And, when I got a question like that, I felt obligated to answer it. Someone says, hey, I watched your video. What do you think about this? Guys, when you guys do that, I feel obligated. I feel like, I got to do this. I got to help them out. Help them make this decision. All right, let me go ahead and set that right here. I just want to make sure I had it all clear. Yeah. Okay, cool. There we go. All right, guys, let's go ahead and put these in here. And we're going to try this one more time. And I hope I don't choke it. So that's just, going to fine. And that's what happens. Sometimes when I see this happen with a new grinder, I do kind of get a little excited because it means that it's capable of more. Has definitely a broader spectrum. All right, let's go ahead and turn that on. So again, not very much noise. You want to hear a comparison? Here's my DC63 right next to it. And I'm dropping stuff again. DC63, it's really quiet. That's actually a really quiet motor. Macomb. Can you hear that? Really think about it. It's not that big of a difference. It's still pretty quiet, but a lot of grinders I have are pretty quiet. So here's the first shot. This is with the Nutty. Should be all clear, but I hear a little bit, so we got one last run through. And if you do a little puck diagnosis, this was my puck where it was too fine. As you can see, it just wasn't even getting exposed to the water. There's dry spots in there. So, I mean, that's just going too fine. Okay, I think we should be all clear. Yeah. All right, sounds good. So let's take a look here. Again, still pretty fine. I hope I don't repeat the same mistake. But I think the point has come across as far as, is it capable? Yes. Crazy capable. All right. Let's try to do a quick one here. Oh man, it smells so good. Okay. If you guys have any secrets to puck prep, always let me know. Always let me know. I'm always trying to figure out the best way to do something. Yeah, it definitely feels different. I mean, even going those couple clicks, it's different for sure. Okay. Let's do our distribution. Yeah, that last one, like I said, once I put it in there, I could really feel it go down. Cool. lock screen right up top. There we go. All right. All right, let's give this another shot, guys. Okay, crossing my fingers. There we go. Nice. And that was just a 3-click difference. Yeah, I'm liking the way that looks. Look at all that crema. Dang. Wow. All right. For some reason, my scale decided to run out of power right at that moment. So we're going to wing this one. But I think that's about 30. And the timing was good. But the scale, I just lost my battery. Guys, I pull a lot of shots. So I'm always having to put the power to my scale. But yeah, look at that. I think it's super pretty. Okay. Definitely nice and pretty. Made some good crema. Again, I don't know exactly what that is because of scale, but just out of pure fun, just for my own testing here. Just out of curiosity. Okay. 11.57. I think I went over just a tiny bit. I don't think it was exactly 30. It's more like probably 33 if I had to take a guess. But right in that espresso range. Let's give it a taste. Okay. Cheers. Salute. Salanja. Oh, that's good. That's a very delicious shot. You could still see, even though it's been a long time, the crema up there on that one. But this one definitely had a good crema build. Very delicious, very traditional espresso. Can't have more of a regular espresso than Lavanza. Just very traditional. Anybody can get it. You know, not anything too special. But y'all, I think this is a win. And it all really comes down to what's your preference, what you want to spend. I think that both of these are 100% espresso capable. Actually, let's switch this for the 2 shots. I definitely think they're both espresso capable. If I had to recommend one over the other, I would go with the Whirly. Price-wise, I think it's definitely worth it. You definitely have different bird geometry. This is Timemore and Timemore only. This is Timemore Help partnership, and they're a good company. Nutty's a great company. Their mobile espresso unit, I really would like to get one. I actually reached out to them, and there's a possibility I'm going to get it, guys, but I don't know when. I know that they're still working on some production parts of it, so I'm trying not to push. Because there's a couple things where I've had brands reach out to me, and they're like, hey, do you want to test this? And I say yes, and then they reach out to me later on. They're like, hey, there's some production stuff that's going on. So I would really love to try it. It seems super cool. Again, really partners with Timemore, so who knows? I'm crossing my fingers, y'all. But if you have to pick between the two, would probably be my #1 choice, and I think it's worth the money because of that burr set, just being a little more advanced. If anyone has the new Timemore grinder, there's a C5, I believe. Let me know. I've watched some of the videos, but I'm kind of curious just to talk to someone a little bit who's really gone through and used it a lot. Guys, I really appreciate you hanging out with me so much. If you like stuff like this, make sure you're hitting like and subscribe. And if you guys ever have a question, just put it in the comments. But really, you're always more than welcome to DM me on Instagram. I love chatting with y'all. This is why I do this. And make sure you're following me on my Amazon storefront, because if you do make purchases through there, it really does help support the channel. My wife has a YouTube channel, and I have a YouTube channel, and we kind of team up on that part. So it really does help support us as a family. It sounds kind of silly. It doesn't cost you more or less. So you're never going to pay more or less or anything. It just kind of helps out. So it's really cool. But I really appreciate y'all so much. Hope you have a great day, and we're in the middle of the week.